Hello there, everyone. So wonderful. Now let's understand this step by step of the construction of an educational content. Remembering that by educational content, I mean either a simple instructional video tutorial or an entire course, regardless of its duration. Of course, according to the complexity, you can remove steps or shorten them. I will explain the general process here. I already explained more or less the steps of a process in general there at the beginning of the course in the lesson. What does an instructional designer do? But it all starts with a pedagogical proposal, sorry. A pedagogical methodology are models on which educational content is created for individual lessons, courses, learning paths, and others. A pedagogical methodology document will contain what will be taught in broader terms, how it will be taught, and how the content will be consumed. It's very similar to brand identity documents, for example, but applied to teaching and learning. It doesn't contain anything pertaining to the courses themselves, only their organization to the organization or school. Therefore, if you are starting with a company and anticipate that we continue to develop educational content in the medium or long term, documents containing the pedagogical proposal will be very useful. It will contain the core guidelines for how each content from that specific company or organization is developed and delivered. Of course, it's not a document set in stone. Like a company's brand, it evolves over time as you discover what works and what doesn't. After creating the company's methodology, we start to create course syllabi and curricula. A course syllabus is a summary of what the educational content needs to deliver, containing its educational objectives and structure, usually in bullet points. The curriculum describes the learning objectives or objects that make up the content in detail. If you are developing a course, the curriculum will list the lessons, what will be covered in which one, when there will be a presentation, when there will be a PDF to download, when there will be a quiz, when there will be an exercise of practice, etc. Now, we're not going into the details of each part. You just need to structure each moment with a description. Detailed structure and a script takes place in the storyboard part. This is the document in which you will actually write the script of each video, each animation, each quiz, each educational objects. Here you will create the script for everything. You will definitely start to pick up several points that were missed during the meetings with the experts. Obviously, as we are already talking about content production, you must already have a well defined system and technologies. Now comes the production. In this step, you actually design each of the educational objects, develop the interactive objects in HTML, design the animations, record, and edit the videos, prepare each presentation, and everything else, all following the storyboard script. Therefore, a well designed storyboard will save a lot of time for the entire team. So, for example, you already know that in location X, videos 7, 20, 34, and 40 will be recorded, so you don't have to go back and forth. Finally, we have the upload, putting the material in the LMS or learning system. Insert educational objects, upload videos, configure exercises, and so on. Once all of these steps are completed, you have your educational content ready. Of course, your job as an instructional designer is far from done, but now you can say that you've completed the first big step, creating the objects and making them available to your students. Cool? I hope it was understandable how the whole process of creating educational content works. The idea is, of course, to explain the general step by step. Now, how to get your hands dirty will depend a lot on each type of content. For each, there is a specific object. In the last lessons, how to take your first steps into instructional design if you are thinking about exploring it as a career option.